I want to encourage everyone to pray before viewing any of my videos. Pray for an open mind, to have ears that hear and eyes that see what God wants you to know. I would also like to remind you to be sure and click on all the links provided in the video. These provide important additional information about the subject matter being covered and leads to a better understanding of what is going on. It is extremely important to know all the facts so you will be able to recognize when Satan is trying to deceive you. Please watch the video entirely, and I pray this message really opens your eyes. Secret History of Papal Rome, or the Roman Catholic Church. The majority of people today, including Roman Catholics, do not know about the true bloody history of the Papal Church of Rome. The true history of the Roman Catholic Church has been hidden away from the eyes of the masses through the rewriting of the history books so that they cannot see the truth about the Antichrist church, otherwise known as Babylon, the mother of harlots. But in this video, we will give you a glimpse into the history of Papal Rome, with a timeline of events that took place during the past 1,000 years. Further in the video, you will see quotes from the few available if you dig deep history books revealing the truth about papal persecutions. Please know this is not out of hate for the people within the Catholic Church, but hate for what the Catholic Church has done and for what she continues to do. God is calling his precious children out of this church, Babylon. We are here to help sound that call. Quote, under the guise of Christianity, the Papal Church committed more enormities than ever disgraced the annals of paganism, disregarding the maxims and the spirit of the gospel. The Papal Church, arming herself with the power of the sword, vexed the Church of God and wasted it for several centuries, a period most appropriately termed in history the Dark Ages. Quote, the kings of the earth gave their power to the beast. End quote. Fox's Book of Martyrs, Chapter 4. Quote, Roman Catholicism was born in blood, has wallowed in blood, and has quenched its thirst in blood, and it is in letters of blood that its true history is written. End quote. Baron de Ponnet, 1940.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus.
Quote, I learned much from the order of the Jesuits, said Hitler. Until now, there has never been anything more grandiose on the earth than the hierarchical organization of the Catholic Church. I transferred much of this organization into my own party. End quote. Sorry if I read these names wrong. Hermann Röchling, former National Socialist chief of the government of Danzig, Hitler Madit, edition Cooperation, Paris, 1939, pages 266, 267, and 273 SS. Before we get into the blood that the Roman Catholic Church has split throughout her history, just take a look at the following wicked crimes against children that this church has committed and still continues to commit. 6,000 plus Catholic priests abused 16,000 plus just known children since 1950 in America. 500,000 children taken from families, forced into Catholic institutions, and abused in Australia from 1930 to 1970. 4,000 plus children sexually abused in Australia since 1980. Hundreds of thousands of children abused in Catholic and Protestant care homes in Germany between 1950 to 1970. Pope John Paul II ignored the abuse of 2,000 boys in Austria over decades and covered up innumerable cases of abuse. 700,000 plus men, women, and children in Croatia tortured and killed by Catholic Church in 1940s. 20,000 plus children abused by Catholic Church since 1945 in Netherlands. 150,000 children abused and killed in government and Catholic plus Anglican run institutions in Canada from 1876 to 1996. 1,700 plus Catholic priests accused of abuse in Brazil. Catholic Church sends pedophile priests to South American churches. Tens of thousands of children abused by Catholic priests in Ireland between 1930 to 1990. 10,000 plus women abused in Catholic institutions in Ireland between 1920 to 1996. Hundreds of Catholic priests abused children in the Philippines between 1980 to 2000. 800,000 people massacred in Rwanda with support from Catholic Church in 1994. Thousands of children and adults abused in Catholic care homes in Scotland in the 60s and 70s. 300,000 babies stolen from mothers by Catholic Church in Spain between 1930 through 1990. Thousands of children tortured and abused in Catholic schools in Switzerland between 1930 to 1970. Year 1209. The Albigensian Crusades in southern France. Roman Catholic Crusaders slaughter approximately 20,000 citizens of Béziers, France on July 22, 1209. Both Albigensian Christians and Catholics were slain. By the time the Roman Catholic armies finished their crusade, almost the entire population of southern France, mostly Albigensian Christians, has been exterminated. Year 1236, Roman Catholic Crusaders slaughtered Jews in the Anjou and Poitou regions of western France in a severe wave of persecution. Year 1481, at the direction of the Roman Catholic Inquisitors, authorities torture, burned, and slaughter tens, even hundreds of thousands of people during the Spanish Inquisition. Years 1540 through 1570, Roman Catholic armies butcher at least 900,000 Waldensian Christians of all ages during this 30-year period. Years 1553 through 1558, Roman Catholic Queen Mary I of England, aka Bloody Mary, attempts to bring England back under the yoke of papal tyranny. During her reign, nearly 300 men and women are burned to death at the stake. Her victims include bishops, scholars, and other Protestant leaders. Year 1572, St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre. French Roman Catholic soldiers begin killing Protestants in Paris on the night of August 24th, 1572. The soldiers kill at least 10,000 Protestants during the first 3 days. At least 8,000 more Protestants are killed as the slaughter spreads to the countryside. Years 1618 through 1648. The 30 Years' War. This bloody religious war is planned, instigated, and orchestrated by the Roman Catholic Jesuit order and its agents in an attempt to exterminate all the Protestants in Europe. Many countries in Central Europe lose up to half their population. Years 1641 through 1649. 8 years of Jesuit-instigated Roman Catholic butchery of Irish Protestants claims the lives of hundreds of thousands of Protestants. Year 1685. French Roman Catholic soldiers slaughter approximately 500,000 French Protestant Huguenots on the orders of Roman Catholic King Louis XIV of France. Year 1941 through 1945. The Roman Catholic Ustashi in Yugoslavia butchered hundreds of thousands of Yugoslav citizens, Serbs, Jews, and Roma, and hundreds of thousands were forced to convert to Catholicism. 1949 through 1953. With the support from the Colombian government, the Roman Catholic Church had 60,000 Protestants and non-Catholics shot, drowned, and emasculated. Pope Pius XII awarded the Colombian president with one of the highest awards the Church can give. During her full reign of terror, the papacy had caused the cruel death of at least 50 million people. The following are quotes from the few available history books concerning papal persecution.
Bertrand, the papal legate, wrote a letter to Pope Honorius, desiring to be recalled from the crusade against the primitive witnesses and contenders for the faith. In that authentic document, he stated that within 15 years, 300,000 of those crossed soldiers had become victims to their own fanatical and blind fury. Their unrelenting and insatiable thirst for Christian and human blood spared none within the reach of their impetuous despotism and unrestricted usurpations. On the River Garonne, a conflict occurred between the Crusaders, with their ecclesiastical leaders, the prelates of Thalaus and Comminges, who solemnly promised to all their vassals the full pardon of sin, and the possession of heaven immediately, if they were slain in the battle. The Spanish monarch and his confederates acknowledged that they must have lost 400,000 men in that tremendous conflict, and immediately after it, but the papists boasted that, including the women and children, they had massacred more than 2 millions of the human family in that solitary crusade against the southwest part of France. The Catholic Crusade against the Albigenses in southern France, from 1209 to 1229, under Popes Innocent III, Honorius III, and Gregory IX, was one of the bloodiest tragedies in human history. The number of Albigenses that perished in the 20 Years' War is estimated at from 1 to 2 millions. Need I speak to you of the 30 Years' War in Germany, which was mainly instigated by the Jesuits? in order to deprive the Protestants of the right of free religious worship, secured to them by the Treaty of Augsburg, or of the Irish Rebellion, of the inhuman butchery of about 15 millions of Indians in South America, Mexico, and Cuba, by the Spanish Papists. In short, it is calculated by authentic historians, that Papal Rome has shed the blood of 68 millions of the human race in order to establish her unfounded claims to religious dominion. This was the century of the last religious wars in Christendom, the 30 Years' War in Germany, fomented by the Jesuits, reducing the people to cannibalism, and the population of Bohemia from 4 million to 780,000, and of Germany from 20 million to 7 million, and making southern Germany almost a desert. In one word, the Church of Rome has spent immense treasures and shed, in murder, the blood of 68,500,000 of the human race, to establish before the astonished and disgusted world, her fixed determination to annihilate every claim set up by the human family to liberty, and the right of unbounded freedom of conscience. There perished under Pope Julian 200,000 Christians, and by the French Massacre, on a moderate calculation, in 3 months, 100,000. Of the Waldenses there perished 150,000, of the Albigenses, 150,000. There perished by the Jesuits in 30 years only 900,000. The Duke of Alva destroyed by the common hangman alone, 36,000 persons. The amount murdered by him is set down by Grotius at 100,000. There perished by the fire and tortures of the Inquisition in Spain, Italy, and France 150,000. In the Irish massacres there perished 150,000 Protestants. To sum up the whole, the Roman Catholic Church has caused the ruin and destruction of 1.5 million of Moors in Spain, nearly 2 millions of Jews South America in Europe, in Mexico, and, including the islands of Cuba and Saint Domingo, 15 millions of Indians, in 40 years, fell victims to popery. And in Europe, and the East Indies, and in America, 50 millions of Protestants, at least, have been murdered by it. Thus the Church of Rome stands before the world, the woman in scarlet, on the scarlet-colored beast. A church claiming to be Christian, drenched in the blood of 68 millions, and 500,000 human beings. Alexander Campbell, well-known religions leader of the 19th century, stated in debate with John B. Purcell, Bishop of Cincinnati, in 1837 that the records of historians and martyrologists show that it may be reasonable to estimate that from 50 to 68 millions of human beings died, suffered torture, lost their possessions, or were otherwise devoured by the Roman Catholic Church during the awful years of the Inquisition. Bishop Purcell made little effort to refute these figures. Let us keep a sense of proportion. The record of Christianity, Roman Catholic, from the days when it first obtained the power to persecute is one of the most ghastly in history. The total number of Manicheans, Arians, Priscillianists, Paulicians, Bogomils, Cathari, Waldensians, Albigensians, witches, Lollards, Hussites, Jews and Protestants killed because of their rebellion against Rome clearly runs to many millions, and beyond these actual executions or massacres is the enormously larger number of those who were tortured, imprisoned, or beggared. I am concerned rather with the positive historical aspect of this. In almost every century a large part of the race has endeavored to reject the Christian religion, and, if in those centuries there had been the same freedom as we enjoy, Roman Catholicism would, in spite of the universal ignorance, have shrunk long ago into a sect. The religious history of Europe has never yet been written. Mead has calculated from good authorities that in the war with the Albigenses and Waldenses the perished of these people, in France alone, 1 million. Who have their dungeon cells under their cathedrals, in which they claim, as inquisitors of their own diocese, to imprison free men in our republic. Foreign popish bishops, and the facts respecting a man being so confined and scourged, in the cells at Baltimore, America, until he recanted, have been published, and not to this day contradicted, who are in the habit of uttering ferocious threats to assassinate and burn up those Protestants who successfully oppose Romanism. The foreign papists. I have in my possession the evidence of no less than 6 such inhuman threatenings against myself. It is reckoned that during the reign of Justinian, Africa lost 5 millions of inhabitants. Thus Arianism was extinguished in that region, not by any enforcement of conformity, but by the extermination of the race which had introduced and professed it. Footnote. Speaking of Pope Innocent VIII. Yet on the papal throne he played the zealot against the Germans, whom he accused of magic, in his bull Summis Desiderans Affectibus, etc., and also against the Hussites, whom he well nigh exterminated. The Inquisitor Ranierius, who died in 1259, has left it on record, concerning the sects of ancient heretics, observe, that there have been more than 70, all of which, except the sects of the Manicheans and the Arians and the Runcarians and the Leonists which have infected Germany, have through the favor of God, been destroyed. An edict was issued under the regency of Theodora, which decreed that the Paulicians should be exterminated by fire and sword, or brought back to the Greek Church. It is affirmed by civil and ecclesiastical historians, that, in a short train, 100,000 Paulicians were put to death. The whole number of victims who have been offered up in Europe since the beginning of the Reformation, partly by war, partly by the Inquisition, and 1,000 other methods of Romish cruelty, no less within 40 years, if the computation of an eminent writer be just, than 45 millions. The Inquisition, which was established in the 12th century against the Waldenses, was now more effectually set to work. Terrible persecutions were carried on in various parts of Germany, and even in Bohemia, which continued about 30 years, and the blood of the saints was said to flow like rivers of water. The countries of Poland, Lithuania, and Hungary, were in a similar manner deluged with Protestant blood. Those who were not put to death suffered imprisonment, had their houses pulled down, their lands laid waste, their property stolen, and their wives and daughters, after being ravished, sent into convents. If any fled from these cruelties, they were pursued through the woods, hunted and shot like wild beasts. At the head of the dragoons, in all the provinces of France, marched the bishops, priests, friars, and the clergy being ordered to keep up the cruel spirit of the military. An order was published for demolishing all Protestant churches. In Bohemia, by 1600, in a population of 4 million, 80% were Protestant. When the Habsburgs and Jesuits had done their work, 800,000 were left, all Catholics. In Austria and Hungary half the population Protestant, but under the Habsburgs and Jesuits they were slaughtered. In Poland, by the end of the 16th century, it seemed as if Romanism was about to be entirely swept away, but here too, the Jesuits, by persecution, killed reform. In Italy, the Pope's own country, the Reformation was getting a real hold, but the Inquisition got busy, and hardly a trace of Protestantism was left. The horrors of the Inquisition, ordered and maintained by the popes, over a period of 500 years, in which unnumbered millions were tortured and burned, constitute the most brutal, beastly, and devilish picture in all history.
Please see this document listing more of the Catholic Church's crimes against children. I will leave this document in the description below. Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg concerning the evil acts done by the Roman Catholic Church. Please note this is just a general, to give you a general idea of how many they molest. It is impossible to put all of it out there because children are being molested on a daily basis by the Roman Catholic Church. Friends, please open your eyes to this Antichrist church. This is not God's church whatsoever. It is an apostate church, and history proves her status as the main Bible Antichrist system. The Pope thinks he sits in place of Christ, acting as if he is God, which is what Antichrist actually means in the original language. Someone who puts himself in place of Christ. And the doctrines of this church are an abomination to our holy heavenly Father. Heed the call today. Come out of her, my people. See Revelation 18 verse 4.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Here are a few quotes, and when I say few, I mean few, because there are many quotes of the popes declaring themselves God on earth, which of course is blasphemy. See John 10 verse 33.
The Jews answered him, saying, For a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because that thou, being a man, makest thyself God. The Jews answered him, saying, For a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because that thou, being a man, makest thyself God.
If you haven't seen Media Monopoly, mainstream news is all scripted, turn it off video, make sure to go watch it. It is time to turn off the mainstream scripted news and turn on the real news. Visit our site news page, which I will leave in the description below. Please subscribe to our main YouTube channel, End-Times-Prophecy, and hit subscribe and get notifications. Also, our backup YouTube channel, please subscribe to that as well. Hit subscribe and get notifications. Also, on the main YouTube channel, you have a link to our website, which has end times news updates, mass animal deaths, and health news, health message, amazing Bible truths. Please read these, go through these. These are very, very important. And also, you can go check out our Facebook page, which also has a lot of good, amazing information. Please check that out. Thank you for watching again. Sorry for the pop-up. Thank you for watching again. God bless. God bless. God bless. Thank you for watching. I pray this message has opened your eyes. Please make sure to read the links in the description and check out these amazing Bible truth videos. For more amazing Bible truth / Bible studies, go to end-times-prophecy.org. The link will be in the description below. God bless.